Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Lead Change Empowerment Podcast, where we empower you in your now and lead the change you want to see in yourself and others. Without further ado, here to serve you, your host, Mr. Steve Robinson.
Welcome to the Lead Change Empowerment Podcast. I am your host, Steve Robinson, empowerment speaker, author, and entrepreneur. Every Monday and Thursday, I will serve as a lead changer to empower you in your now, discussing life topics from personal to business, and assist you to lead the change you want to see in yourself and others. So let's get started. I'm going to tell you about why I came up with the Lead Change Empowerment Podcast, what we plan to do, and how we plan to empower you. And by getting started, that's the topic of the first ever episode, getting started. Why I chose the podcast, to get out of my comfort zone. I was listening to a lot of different podcasts. I listened to the Zig Ziglar podcast, the Lewis Howes podcast, the Grant Cardone, which is one of my favorites. I'm a big fan of John Lee Dumas. I listen to his podcast as well. So listening to these different podcasts that empowered and helped me, I was thinking to myself, even though I'm a speaker and speaking and not getting all the speaking engagements at this time, I was like, there's another way I can still reach different audiences and still help people and empower people until I get there. So that's when I came up with coming up with the Lead Change Empowerment Podcast. And the reason I call everyone lead changers because we're leading agents of change. That we start to change. When I talk about leadership, I'm talking about being a leader of your gifts, being a leader of what you have, not so much as leading everyone else. It's just taking care of yourself and getting that in order before you can help anyone else get what they need to get in order, or even if you just to help your family. So by coming up with the Lead Change Empowerment Podcast, I started writing about it. I started talking about it, and even this recording, I think I did it like 2 or 3 times trying to get everything together. And I was like, man, listen, this is just podcast. You're just talking to people regular. You're not getting up, giving a speech about anything. You're just talking about daily things that you go through, daily things that other people go through, and how you can help empower them. So it's not all scripted. You know, you'll have a topic, and yes, you'll hit a couple points of what you want to talk about, but you don't need to. If you keep putting it off, this would never get released. So I just decided to set up my little office in my closet, or call it my studio, and now we're here to go. We're ready to go, and we're going to keep going until we hit the top, and even then we're going to go some more. So basically just talking about what Lead Change Empowerment will do for you. It's about 15 to 20 minutes. That's about it. That's all. It's not going to be a long podcast, something you can listen to every Monday and Thursday. You'll get a new episode that'll come out. I could talk about different things, whether it be your relationship, whether it be your business. And then as we begin to grow, I want you to email me and give me different things that's on your mind. Or if you're in a business that you want to grow and just getting started, maybe I can bring someone on. I'm planning to have on different guests that can help us get those things started. So without further ado, we're going to keep this one moving on. Man, just taking a break for a second and thinking about it. This is my first podcast. I'm recording it now. I guess I'll listen to it again myself a couple times just to hear it. Oh, make sure that you sign up to listen to us on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, whatever listening device that you have will be uploaded on all of those. Please subscribe, download, and share with others. Make sure that you're doing that. You know, I want to thank everyone that has taken the time out. But right now I want to talk about a couple key points with getting started, just to get this first show on the road and what it took for me. One thing is thinking big. I had to be able to think big about what I wanted to do. And sometimes when you start to think big, you'll have a gut feeling to want to do something, right? But then you begin to allow your brain to start coming up with all of these blocks, these roadblocks of why you can't do it or what may happen and why it won't work. And you have to go with that gut feeling to go out there. And I'm going to give you something my cousin had told me, Herlin Robinson, who's a radio DJ at Magic 101.3 down in Louisville, Kentucky. And we were talking, and he was going over some things with me. And I was like, man, you're good at what you do. He said, man, listen, the only way to get good is to get to doing it. You'll get there. You just got to get to doing it. And that's what I said, you know what? That's it. Let's put this podcast, let's record it, let's put it out there. Let's see what happens. And do it again, and do it again, and do it again. And you don't stop because you find what you love to do. And that's the second thing. If the key points I'm going to give you, the second one is find what you love to do. If it's something that you love to do it. Get into it and do it. How to balance life. You got to be able to balance those things that you have going on, whether it be work, whether it be family, while you're still chasing your goals, chasing your dreams. You have to have a balance. And don't be afraid of failure. Listen, there's been many a times, and I still haven't stopped. I haven't stopped failing at a couple of things. There's still going to be things that you're going to fail at, but you don't stop at failure. You don't be afraid of failing and it's just like this podcast. Honestly, I've been working on this for about 2 or 3 months, but I don't know what I was working on. I was just gathering new information. How do you work Audacity? What type of microphone should I have? How many shows do I need to have recorded before I put out? I mean, I was giving myself excuse after excuse after excuse and really being able to really just being afraid of failure. And that's what it was. I was just being afraid of failure. I kept giving myself different. I don't have a logo. I don't have a design yet. I don't have this yet. I don't have guests that's ready to be on the show. Do you supposed to have sponsors before you start? I kept giving myself every single option to stop doing it or putting off doing it. Now, see, here's what happens. Because I was putting in the work, so I figured I'm putting in this work, so it's going to work out. So I have an excuse. Well, basically, I have to justify the excuse of not doing it. Well, I'm putting in work. I'm making sure everything is right. And then I realized this. If I keep doing that, hey, I'll listen to something else. I'll hear another podcast. I'll listen to I listen to the Buffini show. I can hear somebody else. I listen to like I said before, the Zig Ziglar show. I can listen to something that they're saying and be like, oh man, I need to say this, or I need to say that. And I would push it off again and push it off again. And before you know it, this show would still be in the lab, as I call it. When you're working on something, you're in the lab working on it. Another thing I want to tell you is have an unwavering desire to succeed. And that's very important. It's just no matter what, I'm going to work hard to make this show succeed. And if I give it all that I got, I'm going to give it all that I got. Not if I give it all that as I give it all that I have, and keep pushing and continue to work. Once you know you've done your best, that's all you can do. And don't worry about the rest. Do your best. Don't worry about the rest. And the biggest part is taking action. I had to take action. Believe me, this has been a work in progress, but I didn't take the proper action, which is like I'm doing now, recording this to be uploaded, to be put out for the first show of the Lead Change Empowerment Podcast. I had to take action, and I believe in it. I truly believe in what I'm doing and having a positive attitude. I think I have a positive attitude regardless. In most cases, I have a positive attitude, but what I was doing was beginning to let the positive attitude kind of make up for what I wasn't doing. Yeah, you have a positive attitude, but what action are you taking, Steve? What action are you putting together? Don't let discouragement stop you. Maybe you don't have everything that everyone else has, but you don't know what they worked or went through to get there. I can't compare where I am now to where someone else is in their life because I'm at a beginning stage. I can't think that it's just going to just jump off and be the greatest show ever, which we're working to be. We're working to be the number one on new and noteworthy podcast. Yes, we're going to work at that. And you have to be willing to work hard. Be willing to work hard to get what you want. Be willing to chase after what it is that you want and how you plan to get it. So let's go back over those 10 key points to getting started. All right, you got to think big. Find out what you love to do. How to balance your life. Balance. You got to have balance in your life. Don't be afraid of failure. Have an unwavering desire to succeed. Take action. Believe. Have a positive attitude. Don't let discouragement stop you, and be willing to work hard. Listen, listeners, Lead Change Empowerment Community. This is my first ever show that's getting ready to go down in the history books. I'll look back on it in 100 shows later and say, wow, that's what we started at. So I'm looking forward to watching my own progress, looking forward to paying attention to my process as I learn different things and pick up new things as I go on. And I expect you to share. I would love for you to share. I expect you to share. If you like it, hey, reach out to me, info@steverobinsonthespeaker.com. You can find me on Facebook at Steve Robinson /The Speaker. You can find me on Instagram, Steve Robinson _the speaker. Hey, just stay in touch with me. There will be plenty of excuses to justify the actions or lack of action as to why you don't get started. And I want to close today. Thank you for listening. Please share, invite someone to listen. And until next time, I will close each episode with the title of my book, Prayer, Patience, Progress, in that order. Have a great day.